is there something fundamentally different between the Sierra Leone government truth and reconciliation efforts and those in South Africa? Because I heard that the South African ones were quite successful. This didn't seem that successful, the government version.
Well, one of the differences is that in South Africa, you got amnesty in exchange for telling your story. You tell the truth and you get amnesty. In Sierra Leone, there was a blanket amnesty for all the perpetrators as part of the peace treaty that ended the war. And so they already had amnesty, so they had no incentive to tell their story. So that was one thing. And another thing was that about specific to the process in Sierra Leone, it was held in Freetown, in the capital city, and then in the capital cities of the districts. And if you notice, the roads are not very good. Nobody has cars, very few people have motorcycles. Most people live their lives in a very small circumference. They can't get to the big city. The hearings in the big city were 5 days, I think. The first day was all opening ceremonies. The last day was all, closing ceremonies. One day in the middle was all private sessions. So there was 2 days in a district, in a place that most people can't get to.
Taking a day to get to.
And so nobody, virtually, only a very small number of people had access to even participate. And none of the perpetrators had incentive to testify. There's a lot of, the South Africa Truth and Reconciliation Commission has modeled an amazing approach. But it's also, people are realizing that there's still a lot of work to be done. And what a lot of people are saying is that, they told their story, sort of like what you were saying, or somebody, I forget, was saying that, and then you go back, and you're not part of a community. So you go back, and you might still be carrying that burden alone. Now, you have offloaded it, and you've gotten an apology, and that goes a tremendous way. But if you don't have a support network to help carry the ongoing weight, of what happened as you work it through, there's likely to still be unresolved.
But is it true that a large number of these reconciliations were based on people being forced to do it, or they would have been killed themselves? I mean, is that true for a lot of the cases?
In South Africa, you mean,
No,
or in Sierra Leone?
Well, they were conscripted by these.
You mean that the killings were forced, not the reconciliations were
Yes,
forced?
yes.
It is true that a lot of them were forced. Most people would say that even if they weren't direct, yes, the chain of command was very much, everybody had a chain of command above them that said, you have to do this. And so, even very senior military officials, were saying, yeah, but I was really under orders. And that was very much the case. However, most people would also describe the circumstances of the war as having that effect. So even if they chose voluntarily or take responsibility, there's something that they never would have done outside of those circumstances. That there's something about being in that kind of a war that does these things to you, that makes you choose things you would never otherwise choose. And that's how Savage describes his experience. By the way, 18 months after the filming was complete, and Savage, asked to go back, he did go back to Tombadou and apologize, and was forgiven, and has reintegrated himself back into that community. And actually, so we filmed that bonfire, and that's an epilogue on the DVD. There's a DVD extra here, an epilogue that shows his bonfire, his apology bonfire, and so it's pretty powerful. And just in case you're interested, we're working right now to make a 55-minute version of the film. So for educational purposes, and also for international television broadcast, and that will incorporate the material from the epilogue into the film itself. So we hope to have that done at the end of April.